Hey, how's it going, all you lovely people? It's Door Shutter coming back to you with a brand new episode of Project Architect 2, and today I autopiloted and accidentally crafted a Philosopher's Stone. I was gonna wait till on camera, but I just, for some reason, just immediately crafted it. It's not a complicated recipe. It's a very, actually, useful tool here. We can actually go outside and kind of just experiment here. But apologies for the very loud sound, but that is the power-up sound, and that is the power-down sound. And this just allows for you to do bigger areas of transmuting certain blocks. So if we actually go look down here in the mine shaft, you can do this with cobblestone, you can do it with sandstone. There's a lot of different conversions and stuff you can do this with. But overall, this is also a crafting table. And yeah, there we go. I was trying to get this to open. So here's all the conversions you can do, which is pretty cool. I don't understand what that one is. But yeah, there's tons of good stuff you can do. But it is also a crafting table, which is pretty cool. Yeah. We are going to use this for Eternalist fuel, actually, is why I wanted to craft it. So let's get this out of my inventory here. I'm going to toss my tools in here, and I'm going to set my backpack on the ground, because I want to grab quite a bit of coal. I'm going to grab 4 stacks. That sounds about right. And you're probably like, well, that's a lot of coal. It really isn't. Because what I'm about to do is I am going to turn this to alchemical coal. And from alchemical coal, we will turn it into the next tier, which I actually don't remember, because it is probably augmented in this. But we're just going to do all of the coal I have in my inventory. There we go. And we'll close this. So, alchemical coal, let's see what this goes to. So this goes to Mobius fuel, so it is actually the same. But 4 stacks to that. Okay, and then we have like a stack left over, which is not great, but that's okay. And there is Eternalist fuel. So this is used for dark matter, as well as red matter, and magenta matter, and all the matter. I don't even know what half of this stuff is. But yeah, I think most of it's like getting stuff up here. Okay. Can be used to import EMC and items and fluid. I don't know, we may have to look at that. Can be used to import EMC and items, export items and fluids. Item exporter, 1 per second. Does this just use out of my inventory? That might be what it's doing. Not sure. Okay. Well, we have the fuel that we need. And I'm actually going to break this down into the previous tiers here, because I probably should have done that before just sending it. And we can actually just go in here now. So we didn't really need to do all that, but that's okay. But that's what you would do normally if you didn't have millions and millions of pieces of EMC. So that's kind of why I did it. Just overall, it's a really interesting mechanic. And I think you can actually do that with a lot of different materials. There is, because yeah, like here, you can do gold to iron and then iron to gold. You can do diamonds. Yeah, just tons of interesting stuff. And also, it's a crafting table, so you're going to see a whole bunch of crap. But let's get that converted down. I'm just going to push that back in there. And we should now be able to grab 3 pieces of dark matter. So 1, 2. And then I want to grab 6 pieces of Eternalist fuel. I don't know why I'm doing certain things the way I am right now. I'm kind of like on autopilot of just grab a whole bunch. And that's not what I actually need to be doing. Okay, red matter. Okay? And we're going to toss that in there. So, why we just did all that is because now we can work on getting Mark II collectors and Mark III collectors. Each one of these does require a previous tier, so you can see that these are not going to be cheap. That is, how much EMC? It is 139 plus 166, so that's over 500,000. Plus this one, which is a block of diamonds. And so, yeah, that puts you about 700,000 EMC. Yeah, so that doesn't include the glowstone, but yeah, it's definitely up there. But you can see the difference. You got 4 EMC a second, 12 EMC a second, and 40 EMC a second with maximum storage of 60,000 EMC a second. Which means if you did a power flower like we did out behind all of this stuff, you would have a lot more success. That also brings into question, how do you transmit that with the antimatter relays? Because these are also tiered. So this does 64 EMC a second, this one does 129, and this one does 640. So definitely need to scale these, and of course these are also expensive because you are doing diamonds to dark matter to red matter and all of that jazz. So what I want to do is to speed up the pig progress, I want to replace all of these energy collectors we have here with new ones. So we're actually going to shut this down here for a second. I'm actually going to grab my diamond pickaxe instead of my emerald. And I am going to break the glowstone, break the collectors, and break the antimatter relays. So we need this exact amount. That's why I didn't want to craft them, because if I made extra or made less, then I would have to go back and make more. This way I don't have to. Okay, so we need 17 plus 5. Hey, quick interjection here. If you guys are enjoying the content, it'd be greatly appreciated if you could leave a like and or subscribe or leave a comment, as, you know, hearing from you guys, advice, feedback, things you want to see in the pack, things I might be doing wrong, anything like that is greatly appreciated. Thank you guys. Now let's get back into the video. Let's see, I've got a calculator here. So 17 plus 5, and this is just so I can keep the extra calculation, so that is 22 in total. So let's grab 22 pieces of dark matter, okay? And then I'm just going to do this for red matter. I'll throw the rest in whenever I don't need it. And we then need glowstone. And then we need obsidian. Okay, let's get to crafting all of this. So the antimatter relays from Mark 1 to Mark 2. And then these to Mark 3. And then let's shift click that. I thought I did here. And then collectors to Mark 2. And then to Mark 3. Ran out of glowstone again. Just grab some more real fast. And that should be golden. Okay, so we have the collectors, we have that, we have the ability to throw this back in there, which will give us back to, what was that? We just cranked out that much. I don't even know how much that was. I won't look back at the recording because that's just kind of too much work, but that was a lot of EMC that we pulled out. Let's get this placed down here. So we are going to do antimatter relays. This should cruise. And honestly, I probably could do even less of this than we did originally, but we're going to stick to the original and see what we can get up to here. Okay, and we have to get the ones on the bottom. We'll do that here in a second. Let me just get the glowstone on top. Alright, perfect. And then just place these guys here. And we'll see what happens. You can already see that this pulverizer isn't even fast enough to keep up with that. With this, how fast is this going? I'm going to take out the Mark III. It's not slow by any means, that is for sure. Because I'm thinking maybe we just, like, give up on the fact of a pulverizer, and we just put this here, and we get rid of the nickel, and we just call it a day. That might work. Because in reality, do we really need that much? And it's only doing it occasionally. Okay, let me get a couple augments for the iron furnace here. For the obsidian furnace, but the iron furnace mod. We want blasting, and we probably want to do... Let's do speed. Just so that way it's extra fast. Let me grab these, and I will be back here in a second. Also, I've now got kelp rolls. I'm gonna eat them. Okay, let's knock this out. Let's knock this out. Let's pick this up. And we are going to do input top, output bottom. And we are going to take this out as well. Take this out. And we can take this out as well. And actually, I'm kind of curious if we could get this to be a factory augment. We might be able to. We shall see here in a second. Okay, so down. Let's just get this thing smelting. There's the blast, and then there's the speed. And let's just put iron in the bottom here. Link that back. Perfect. And that should start getting everything going. Let's put the collector back here. And I think I'm going to attempt to put the factory augment on this. I have one. I know I tried it previously, and it did not get us anywhere because it just was not enough power. But I'm wondering if 3 thermo generators is enough. So let's also quickly grab energy pipes and the factory augment, which is right here. Actually, I've got 2 factory augments. I kind of didn't even notice that. Keep picking up junk. Okay, factory augment. Slap that down there. Energy pipe, and then create wrench. Okay, so let's take speed out of the equation. We really do not have enough to run this either. Okay, we are going back to the wireless heat receiver, and I've put speed back in, and I think we'll just leave the factory augment out, which means that we really don't need this thermo generator. Actually, yes, we do. No, we don't, because I can just do... Okay, so I can just put this in here and rebind this. Is this going too fast? No, that's doing okay. Auto output. Okay, this is not doing okay. So what I probably need to do is get another thermo generator here. So let's actually put this one back. Let's kind of like refactor this a little bit here. So if I were to do a thermo generator there, a thermo generator there, and then blazing blocks here and here with a pipe there, and then do this, and then bind this to here, and then do that, would that be enough? Not even that is enough. Okay, so speed is a no-go. But I will keep these 2 thermo generators here just because that seems like that should be good enough. Okay, perfect. We are cruising through that. And I've definitely got quite a bit of raw iron now in my inventory. Can I convert this into the blocks? And then just throw it back into the actual... Okay. That works. That is getting us iron. And that should be getting us skillets. That should be getting us cooking pots. That is fantastic. Okay, good stuff. Good changes. And then we should hopefully break over the 500 here in a little while. But yeah, crab is definitely our problem now. And skillets should not be. So let me work on doing some more crab stuff, which I might have to pop the crabs out of the containment jars and just breed up more and just get more containment jars full of them. I think maybe that's probably the best option. Also, really quick, I'm going to take this emerald drawer out as it's not necessary and transfer it to our main drawer area in our house. And we should be golden to get more crabs. Okay, I'm working on something. We have 799 pigs. And I did add more crabs here. We are, like, filling up. What is happening? Hold on. Okay, this is, like, completely full of bone meal. Because that is completely full. I'm gonna have to come up with a solution to fix this, because that is a problem. But I've got, like, a couple things that I was working on. And, my inventory's kind of full here. Okay. I will figure out a solution for this. Probably just get a trash can or something with the filter, and we'll be good. But I wanted to look at something with this Architect's Palette mod. Because apparently you can do what is called warping and throw cobblestone into a portal, and it becomes crater stone. Interesting. Okay. I was just kind of looking around, trying to find a specific kind of block for a project that we will talk about here in a little while. And I was trying to figure out something a little bit better than cobblestone. And you can turn this into a kind of like a marble-esque brick. And that's kind of what I was looking for. But let's just head in here real quick, and I am going to smelt this. I'm going to actually take out the blasting augment, and I'm going to smelt this up. But the other thing is, this is not EMC-able, so I'm going to have to do this a couple more times. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys that, because that's really interesting. And that's automatable. It's just you have to make sure chunk loading is active on both sides of that portal. So I am going to go get more cobblestone. And I am going to go throw quite a bit of this into the portal. And hopefully it'll be enough for the project I'm working on. Okay, so quickly addressing a couple more issues with the pig. I have changed out the collectors here to Mark 3s, and this seems to be doing better. I'm not going to say it's, like, the best, right? We still have some backlog now, but we don't have, like, this one filled. So we've got issues. I might need to do more collectors. I actually only did 2. I can do a 3rd. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go run back to the overworld, get red matter, dark matter real quick here. So let's do red matter, dark matter, and we should be able to just grab the 3rd one. I was hoping that 2 would work, but it seems like we still have just such a high demand that it is needing a little bit more. So let's just do that one. Let's keep an eye on this. Yeah, because you can see that we are completely out of hoglin now. And it is mostly just because we do not have enough crimson fungus. But this should ensure that we do have enough. And it looks like we actually are running out of... This should be enough. Or no, it's this one, not the other one. Hold on. Nope, it's on 64. Okay. Well, it's just not pulling fast enough now, but that should be okay. Yeah, because there's 2,000 in there, and this thing should get up. But that should make this significantly better. Okay. Let's talk about the project I was working on. I worked on this. This is a room for our AE2 stuff. Somewhat. Our controller is going to go directly in the center of the room, and all of that. I still haven't figured out where we want to do power gen. I'm kind of thinking maybe we do it in, like, one of these corners. We do have the ability to expand, but I don't really want to do that just yet. I kind of want to keep this under the base. This is the size of the house, by the way. It's, I think it's 15 by 15 internal, I think. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7, 7, so that's 14, and then 15 with the center, so 15 by 15. And that is pretty cool. But yeah, I really like this design. I also went with like smooth white concrete and added some redstone lamps that have been altered using the architectural design. So let's talk about power. Now, power generation is going to be simple because we actually have the Mark II and Mark III collectors, and we're able to generate sunflowers. Now, I think what I want to do, because I know the multi-servo press is going to require energy. and quite a bit of it, right? We're going to need to do a little bit of investment to get this going. So it goes from a multi-servo press to the alchemical imbuer, which requires amethyst shards. So I see that we do need 2 different um, of the energy condensers. And then that gives us crystallized sunflower oil. And then from there, it's the advanced refinery, which would then give us the refined sunflower oil. And it looks like each one of these tiers actually is able to be used, but I'd prefer to do this. And I love how this is basically the equivalent to actually additions, because you even use a crystal to improve the quality of the oil. That is hilarious to me. I went ahead and spent some time getting all the things that we're going to need for the sunflower oil and the refined sunflower oil. I think this should be good. The only part that I'm not sure of is this is going to be enough power to power these machines. That's my only concern that I have with this whole idea. So what I think I'm going to do is I am going to... Well, let's see. So I know this is like a limited area, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I have 8 generators in total. I actually have 9, but we're ignoring this one. I think let's do 1. Actually, let's get the block taken out here. We'll just do 5. We may try and do that, and we may take the 9th one. I'm not sure. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then maybe we just do like the sink right here instead. Put that block back. And then sink. And then we do fluid pipes. Fluid pipes. Oh, not that. I need to do... I'm just going to take these guys out and replace them. Okay. So that should start power gen. And then I've got energy pipes. And then I'm thinking that we do this in a very kind of weird area. Let's just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And the reason I'm doing 5, by the way, I don't think I explained this, is sunflowers go from 1 to 100 millibuckets, so less than 1,000. And you need, for the crystallized sunflower oil, you need 1,000. You're going to need multiple of the multi-servo press, because if you don't, then you're going to have a slow thing, unless you just cram upgrades in here, which is going to consume a lot more power. But we'll see if this actually works. Actually, let's take these out here. I think I want to just stack them all together. Just like so. And then I would love to do buffers, but I don't actually have anything to do buffers with right now. So we are just going to, on the right side is output, auto output, and then input. We might need to face these guys towards this way. No, let's face them towards this way. Because that should allow for us to use the back and the right side and the left side and all of that stuff. Okay, so on the back, we will do output. On the right, we'll do input. And that should work. And then we'll just do the exact same thing. There is an option to use, I think it's called the red print. Yes, the red print, which allows you to copy settings. I'm not going to worry about that right now. We're just going to kind of speed through this, make sure we're doing that as well. Okay. And then we are going to do the alchemical imbuer, which we're probably going to face this direction. So that way we have the ability to input there, then output there. And that should do that. Perfect. Just wanted to make sure I put it on the right side. And then the advanced refinery. We'll just throw this the same way. Let's disconnect that side. So then top will be output. and then to the right should be input. So something like that. And then we're going to do this as well on this machine to do input. So that would be for all of these to pull out their fluid. And then the next portion is going to be getting the sunflowers, which we're going to try and do this power flower. I think this might not be tall enough of a room. We might have to figure out something else. But we shall see. Because I did not calculate anything like this. Did I? Okay. Might have to jump down here. Make sure that disconnects from all sides. And then I have this I should be able to build up with. Okay, so this here, and then glowstone on top. Perfect size. Perfect height. Beautiful. And I did make a mistake on our first power flower. I will note that here real quick. We need to surround this thing in glowstone after the fact, which is something I kind of always forget to do, because I don't actually ever remember doing that in the older versions, but I do believe it is more efficient, and we will go ahead and do that here. But we are going to do something like this. It's so weird seeing the old glowstone texture still on the energy collectors. I think a few years back, I actually did make a texture pack. I don't think I ever publicly released it where I swapped out the textures because it was irritating. I don't remember if I ever did anything publicly with that, but that was something I did. That's not difficult to do, in all honesty. So I don't know why they haven't changed them, but, you know, to each is their own. It's not my mod, right? But yeah, let's get... I think the only one we can't do that with is the one that's next to the multi-servo, which is fine. But that is technically a completed power flower rather than the one we did earlier. And actually, I guess I can get that block. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so we also can grab the sunflower, which this is overkill, by the way. I probably could have not done it this way. But, you know, send it. And we may want to go grab an upgrade. Do I have... I do have one advanced pipe upgrade, so let's actually just insert that. And let's go through and turn all of these thermogenerators on to extract. And hope for the best. So this is a decently slow process. It's not the fastest thing in the world, that is for sure. But we are getting sunflower oil. So once this hits 1,000, we will then get the output. Oh, this actually requires, what does that require? Amethyst. I forgot about that. That requires amethyst, so I did actually forget. So let's call this a cool idea, the power flower. And let's just cut it down. We don't need the size that it currently is. It's a little overkill. And I think, yeah, these are 32, and amethyst are 32. So we should be good to just... Why is it... How is it still obtaining EMC? Or is it just got like an internal buffer we can't see? So let's just say 1, 2, 3, glowstone, 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 and we'll just surround these guys by glowstone like this. And I think that should be golden. And of course, if we wanted to, we could do just a wee little thing here. There we go. And that should probably be decent enough to get us sunflowers. And then I need to go grab another energy condenser. And where do I want to put that energy condenser? Because I could actually run a second set of pipes here and just put Trying to think. Because if we do collector, 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 energy condenser, glowstone, 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 just like the other one, this should fit. Except for it's just going to be one block over. So we can just do this. Kind of a weird setup, but I think that would technically work. And then we just go for the backside as input as well. And that would allow for us to grab amethysts. Okay, I think that's a good idea. And of course, I will get up here real quick as well. Oop, if I can place blocks properly. And we can do glowstone up here. So glowstone here, 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 and on this side. Just to make it efficient and effective. At least hopefully it is efficient and effective. For what we need it for, right? We're not needing it for like 8,000 EMC like a diamond, right? We are just needing a minor amount. So amethyst shard and then energy condenser. Which the good thing is we're right next to the house, so I don't have to, or we're right under the house, right? So I don't have to worry about just traveling to pick this up. Okay, so there's that. And then there is this. And that should be going, which that means this should now be making the crystallized sunflower oil. And then we can move on to making the empowered sunflower oil. No, I'm just kidding. It's refined. Empowered is from Actually Editions. I was just kind of making a joke. But this is now cruising and making us refined sunflower oil. Okay. We could look at a tank. We have a handful of options. I'm kind of thinking the singularity tank here, or the jumbo tank. They're not too expensive. Not really at all. Glass and iron, and the other one's just a handful of these together. And I think one other ingredient, right? No, just 4 tanks and some iron, so nothing too extreme. So let's snag up for these guys. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, those are stackable. I kind of forget what's stackable anymore. And then jumbo tank. And boom. And that is refined sunflower oil. So a very, very simple process. And it looks like we're holding stable with these generators. Everything... Yeah, so we may be able to throw some upgrades in here. One thing I did want to mention, the advanced refinery, ADV refinery, does require twinite ingots. These are not complicated to obtain. These just need twinite dust in a furnace. Twinite dust is tin and powdered obsidian, which I just get through the pulverizer, and then blaze powder, and then you just smelt them, of course, and you can get your ingots, which is this one. This also does require the fractioning still. Everything else, the electrum, the invar, you just kind of... I've been doing this recipe. We could look at getting the induction smelter, but as of right now, I really have no interest in that just because it's not too much, right? We're not doing a whole lot, but copper, nickel, fire charge for Constantinian, and then Constantin. I just said Constantinian or something. And then bronze, of course. So nothing extreme, right? This is refined sunflower oil. This is not a whole lot of refined sunflower oil, it looks like. So maybe I want to think about increasing production. We do have the flux linkage amplifiers we could use here. I think I've showed you guys these, but I may not have. These are the thing that increase the processing speed, and they are beautiful. There are different tiers, of course, with the thermal extras. It looks like these are smithing templates now. That's interesting. But I don't think this one costs that much. Soul infused, and soul infused is soul sand dust, which you can get from a pulverizer most likely. Yes. Okay. Yeah, but I'm going to probably look at getting at some of these things and putting them in some of these to see how much we could actually get away with. Because if we can speed this up to a pretty decent chunk, we would be able to use this for power. Right now, I don't think we're producing enough. We do actually have compression dynamos on me. And if I put this down and put... Let's actually put this here, and then just pipe fluids in. So this is, I mean, it's cruising. And this should technically produce 1,000,000. Is that what I said previously? Yeah, 1,000,000 RF. So it produces 33 RF a tick, or 40 for max production. So that's not great. Even though it produces 1,000,000, that's not really that good. Let's see. So dynamo. So we have increased generation rate, but reduces efficiency, increases fuel efficiency, prevents RF from being lost after coil saturation. I don't know what that means. But I'm assuming it's something to do with the actual lock itself, maybe? But see how this is like dipping as it gets lower and lower? I'm wondering if that's the thing. Prevents RF from being lost after coil saturation. That's not too expensive. Let's go craft one real quick. Let's see. Do I have any electrum? I don't think I do. So let's grab gold, grab some silver, grab some fire charges, and it should just be this recipe here. And then we just need some lead nuggets. Okay, that's in there. But we are basically full on power, so we're not going to be able to test much with this. But I'm also kind of thinking of this one, which requires aluminum. Let's see. That is 10 silver, glowstone, and fire charges. That's not terrible. All right, let's make up some of this dust here, because I'll just do some of this on camera so I can show you guys how I've been doing it. And then if we need plates, I have been running over to this section over here, because if you didn't know, I actually kept the mechanical press. It's just with our other create stuff here. And that will make us some plates. How's everything doing down here? 128. And I also do need to look at updating this, where we do all of the shenanigans. I just haven't done it, or thought about doing it until right now. So let's do that while we're waiting. Oop. This may be a little bit more difficult because we've got so much stuff in the way, but it looks like we may be able to do it fully. And I think the only other areas that we missed are like over here, where these guys are kind of buried into the wall. Yeah, so that one can't be done, that one can't be done, and that one's already done. Okay. So that's as complete as it's going to be. If I did it originally correctly, we probably could have done more of it, but that should make it more effective and efficient. But everything else is going. We are at 1.1K. We are not getting enough from the crabs here, even though I put more in, which does kind of suck. But we are dealing with what we can deal with. I did actually keep a couple crabs over here, so that way if I want to add more, I can. It's just the more unique mobs you have, the better off you are. Adding more and more stuff like that does, you know, kind of limit us in a little bit of that. So, all right, real quick, got the aluminum plates. We do need lead gears, and we do need obsidian, sand, and quartz to make the glass we need, which is the hardened glass here. So lead, let's just do 4. I'll send, there we go. So let's see what happens. So if I put this in here... Actually, what I should do... So yeah, it increases the efficiency. So we're at 121. So if I did another one... I'm kind of wondering what we'd get up to. And if you didn't do the saturation, it would, of course, increase it even more. But I don't really think I want to do 4. I think I want to keep that just in case soil saturation... Or soil... Foil, not soil. Foil saturation does something important. So 133%. So I'd assume that if you did all 4, you'd be about 140, 150. Okay, that's not terrible. But, yeah, I mean, this whole thing... I don't know if it's going to be that useful. Because we're going to be using more than that per tick. Unless we could create this to be a much bigger system than it is right now, I think that this may be a lost cause. And we may have to figure out something else. Compost. We're making compost out of this? Huh. Okay. But I will look into it a little bit more off camera because this episode has gone on just a lot longer. I'm not going to say a little bit, a lot longer than it needs to. But thank you guys so much for watching. Stay awesome, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.